Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach. I've uncovered a couple more things in Rocks now that I've upgraded to Preview 7, I believe, for .NET 9. And that has fixed the issue with the code generation test app that I had before, where I was getting these really bizarre exceptions, like access violation exceptions and things like that, way in the bowels of the compiler with some binding namespace or method names. I don't know, but it was something that was not my fault. And fortunately, it seemed like it was a duplicate issue. Somebody else had already reported something that seemed very familiar or similar. And when I upgraded to Preview 7, I ran the code generation test app, and it ran fine and found actually a couple more issues. So I'm going to go through those. Some of them are actually going to be a little bit more problematic. I'll get to those hopefully either at the end of this episode or the next one. But I'm going to start out with what I hope is an easy one. And this is when you have a virtual member. It has to be virtual because what Rox ends up doing is calling the base implementation if there wasn't an expectation set, because that's perfectly valid. But if it has a keyword in it like new, then what is being generated is something like this. So it should be like this. In other words, the parameters should always have the @ sign in front of it. And that's something that we're actually doing, I believe. If you look at the code generation here, we always put the @ sign in front of it. In fact, down here, we put the @ sign in front of it. But we're not doing it when we call the base implementation. So let's do that. The make doesn't matter. The make just doesn't do anything in this case because it doesn't return default. So we could have it as I was just thinking about this before I started recording. We could have this as an option to say that on makes for overrides, you actually don't do anything. And you just return it as is. I mean, in this case, it would feel a little weird to even make a make for this, because what's the point? But maybe the constructor does some stuff some side effects that you don't want. So it would call the base one anyway. So I don't know. Now I'm thinking, like in this case, I don't know why you would make one. So in any event, it's the create. And I'm hoping that this should be actually pretty simple to fix. By the way, I just took a drink of coffee. I know in videos that I've been making, sometimes I try to edit out as much dead space and pauses that I have when I'm going through these problems, but I sometimes drink coffee too quick in between, and cutting those out seem a little awkward. It's just an editing thing for me. You don't care about that. So where do we do this? We would be calling somewhere in here, I don't know where, but we would be doing a base dot, and you don't find it anywhere? Well, we have to be, right? Because where is it again? Up here. Or where am I? Yeah, here. We do base dot. I think it'd be in the method. Well, let's look in the void builder first. Is there even the word base in here somewhere? Aha. That's right. Okay. Because it could be these shims that we make to handle default interface method invocations. So yeah, actually, now that I'm here, let's get distracted. I put this comment here about this issue. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, that's still open. That's been open for now, what, 5-ish years? They never shipped this. It's never been done. Is there any progress on this? And I have the link here, and I'm sometimes wondering, like with this issue, why it's not been done. I don't know, but it hasn't. That's why I couldn't find base dot, because the target here has target dot here, but we still need the pass parameters. And this would be the same thing it wouldn't be for properties. It would be for indexers, because indexers have parameters. So we'd also have to look at that as well. See, I was almost drinking coffee, but you're not going to see it. So we have to do this for methods and indexers. So pass parameters, we just need to do that. Did you see that? Did you notice that? It's just one @ sign. That's it. Nothing else. And then here, that should make that to be new. Now, this is also going to break some of the tests because I don't have the @ sign in there. They're going to be really easy to find and fix. I just need to know how many of them are going to be there. But yeah, that's going to potentially break a fair amount of tests when we call base. Because I believe, yeah, here, well, base toString wouldn't be it. Get hash equals will be it. Like that's suddenly going to be that. You know? So there's going to be a fair amount of tests being broken. So I might have to pause and spend an hour fixing those and come back and you'd never see that because I would cut that out as well. But that's the void one. Let's look at the value one. I believe it'd probably be the same thing. Yep. Again, reuse the code, except I'm not really reusing code. I'm duplicating code, which is not really the right thing. But that should now take care of this. If I run just this one test, it should now pass. And it does. Of course, other tests are going to fail. Let's look at indexers. So there should be indexers, index. Those are the expectations. Is there property expectations builder? Build properties. There's build indexers. No, I don't need the volume up. I need to be there on my keyboard. Indexer expectations, indexer builder, instance parameters. And this is all the parameters. Select. So what is this? That's the parameter model. That's the name. That's the name of the parameter. And we already put, what's the arg name? That's the type name, right? Yeah, so we're already putting those there, but do we ever have base? No, we don't. Do we not call a base method? A base implementation if there's no, we have to be, right? That would be weird. That would be a little strange if we didn't do that. I know that they do defer to the implementation of the method to like, what do we do? I'm a little confused here. Well, these are the expectation handlers? Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. I don't want property expectation builder. I just want mock index. That's what I want. Okay. Yeah. And here we call a base. And we have the same problem here, which is we don't put an @ sign there. This won't happen again with properties because properties don't have this issue. And then we do base dot or the shim and we get the parameters and we pass those in here. I think we've now fixed it. We do want for naming generation tests with keywords and virtual members. We would want something also like this is gonna, yeah, why is it not doing my keystroke? Ugh, that sucks. I don't know why it's not. I noticed that in the previous video or previous videos that it's not doing the control M anymore. That just, it literally, even though it says that's what you should do, it doesn't work anymore. I don't know why. Public, virtual, int, this, int, we'll just say string, new. It doesn't matter. And I believe that should be correct. So give me a second. Let me make sure that I get all the generated code in place and that it all works. Okay, I got it to pass. I did a couple of things wrong. I forgot that the definition needs to actually have an implementation because it's virtual. So I just did something like that. That works. And then I also forgot in the index builder, I needed to do it on the setter as well. So finally got it to work. Now I'm curious. I think when I record the next episode, I'm going to reboot everything because things are feeling a little bit slow and I hope this isn't being a little bit stuttery. Anyway, I am curious to see how many tests are actually going to fail now with this. So let's do run tests. I guess there'd be like 20 or 40. That's just somewhere in there. That's my guess. 52. So, and I'm betting it's all because they're going to be like, you have, or should be obj. Yes. So I will fix those off camera. But let's go back to the issue here. This was found on, this is a good one. Look at the name of this type here. Expression tree functilizer. I mean, how much better of a name can you ever make for your type name? 10 out of 10, chef's kiss, no notes. That's just beautiful. So let's go with type here. And it's still the functilizer because that's what I was looking at. Let's see what it does now. Yep, it passes now. Okay, so I'm pretty convinced that this one is fixed. So what I'm going to do off camera is fix up all the tests. Let's put in the change log as well before I forget. And that is what, 334. All right, so I'm going to fix this all off camera and get this one committed, merged in, and everything else. Pretty convinced this is working. To give a little bit of a preview, what's coming next is which one? This is the one we're fixing. This one. This is a fun one. So in the case where you need to do an explicit implementation, because if you look at these interfaces, this one does a new on this. So in this case, what happens is we have to actually create an explicit implementation, I think, for the caller parameter one. I'm not sure. We probably could get this to happen too if we had two base interfaces, and then we had another one that derived from both of those, and they had the same members. Then both have to be explicitly implemented. Doesn't matter. This triggers it either way. The problem is that in this case, because this is an explicit implementation, you can't have default values for optional arguments. You can't have optional arguments at all. And Rocks actually handles that correctly. But these caller attributes, these caller member name attributes, I believe there's also caller argument, caller file path, and caller line number. You can't put those on them. And I believe Visual Studio, if you do the implement members, it will do it correctly and not put the attribute there. Or it doesn't, I don't remember. But the simple thing will be to just say, when we generate this parameter, and we need to get the attributes, if it's a parameter, on an explicit implementation, then if it's one of these attributes, we don't do it. But that's what we're going to tackle in the next episode. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.